It's been a while. I was sick for most of this week. Whenever I would talk too much, I would start coughing. My ribs were hurting. It wasn't great. I took a break from Snap. I was not playing Pokemon. I don't want to play Pokemons. I do enjoy the Pokemons, but I don't want to play the card game. I like a lot of things about Snap. People who are leaving Snap for Pokemons enjoy it, and we'll welcome you back with open arms when you come back to a better game. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. That's it. But anyway, my wife, if we can get some congratulations to her in some comments, that would be great. So she actually started off at 40 this season, and she's in the 90s right now, to the point where she may actually get to infinite before me. And I'm very proud of her. I have not been playing that much, and I kind of don't want to play. I want her to get to infinite first. I did play a little bit today. This is also just real quickly why it's important to know when to snap, when not to snap, and when to retreat. I lost probably 6 games. I started off at 96, probably played like 10 games, lost about 6, won 4, and I ended up like 4 cubes. I was starting like mid 95 and now I'm mid 96, whatever that is, right? So I lost more games than I won, but I'm still higher in my ranking. Just saying. So my wife is getting much better with that. She's doing fantastic. So please, congratulations, Tori, in the comments. Super appreciate that. Now, onto the fun part of today's video. It's about the data that Second Dinner gets and how amazing it is they're able to look at certain games, but also how wrong their data seems to be sometimes. That was a weird cut. I'm sorry. I started to burp. My chest hurt. So took a drink. I think I'm better now. All right. So let's just go right to over here. This is their Discord, where it's the Ask a Team section. Definitely a wonderful place to go and look at. You can filter it by team response. This is location frequency. This guy asks Reddit dev response to locations and their related retreat rate. And that got me wondering, what about annoying locations that aren't hard counters that people usually put up with for a turn or two, end up costing them the game, either by retreating or just staying and trying to limp through when their strategy is in shambles. I would love to see where this is. I got to search for the dev response about locations and their related retreat rates. If it's a response here or an article, if you know where it is, again, please let me know in the comments. He says, what I am referring to mainly here is locations that add cards to your hand, which are unfortunately plenty. This hurts many strategies where, whether it's Moon Girl, Bounce, and Negative Jane. How does the team monitor for that kind of dynamic? And what would inform decisions on your part with such ambiguous relationships? Okay. Glenn says it's monitored the same way. When you're looking at an individual game and trying to interpret a single action, it can be hard to identify the contributing elements. That's the natural ambiguity you're assuming as a player. So the simple thing that he's trying to say here is your player experience doesn't properly reflect the community experience as a whole. There are some times where, I mean, just think about how many days where you just have these ridiculous days of just perfect draws, perfect locations. You rank up so much in like a single day because everything is working perfectly for you. And then because the game is rigged, the next day you get the worst locations, the worst draws, and it's just the absolute worst experience you've had, and you regress all the way back, right? So Glenn says, we can look at millions of games. If players with Moon Girl retreat when Triskelion is location more often, that's totally discoverable for us. We can even further slice that to see whether they retreat to no snap double, implying that they'd rather play a different game than even try. So I understand what this means. Retreat to no snap, meaning the location shows up, nobody even snapped, they retreated. Does double mean that they snapped, I guess? So unless I'm missing what this terminology is, then just, again, let me know in the comments if I'm misinterpreting that. Now, does that sort of thing change what we do? Well, not always. It's purposeful that we have a range of locations that are good and bad for lots of different decks. The dynamic is necessary to provide replayability any good CCG needs, as we've reduced variance in many other places. Our mana system is constant, our deck size is small, our game length is defined. So you go and you read this and it's just like, that's absolutely crazy that they're able to get this much data where it's so specific. So what they're saying right now is we can go and we can look at people who have Moon Girl in their deck, how often they retreat, whether somebody snapped or not, what turn they retreated, and what locations were just shown at that time. That is a crazy amount of data that they're allowed to look at and get really specific for. So, and I think that might be really when it comes to games themselves, although some of the decisions that they do make in the game when it comes to like nerfing or buffing certain cards, sometimes it just doesn't make too much sense from us, the player. And I mean, that's what he's trying to say, that the player experience doesn't always properly reflect what the community experience really is. I'm trying to find the post that I read before. I can't find it, but someone was saying like it's the general consensus of the community that Storm is no longer a playable card, where she's playable. She's still playable. She's not unplayable. It's not like the change where Zabu went from ongoing to the 4-cost card. Your 4-cost cards cost 1 less next turn, or changing Mobius and Mobius to an on reveal. She's still very playable. Is she iconic? Is she as useful as she was? No, but she's still playable. And again, that's just like the player consensus, or the player's experience versus the community experience with it. I think Storm is playable. This guy doesn't think Storm is playable anymore. So there's always a wider range on things. Now, in contrast to that, about how great they can get with the information on things, it does get me wonder really how accurate they are with certain things and what exactly is going on. Because looking at your annual report, and we all get the annual report, I mean the season recap, right? And sometimes it's just like, is that really what I did? Did that really happen? So going through this, this is easy statistic to get, right? Of course I did that. Easy statistic to get, very easy statistic to get, except that I'm not obsessed with Iron Man. Second Dinner is obsessed with Iron Man. I wonder who has more. I think the longer you've played this game, Iron Man is probably the most, or the card that you have the most variants for. Just because there's so many Iron Man variants that are just in promos or cheap bundles, something like that. Right? I think there was like 3 new Iron Man promos or whatever this month alone. It was ridiculous. This is impressive that my most played card is Jeff the Baby Landshark, which I played 1,985 times, which I don't disagree with, because Jeff is the best. He is the perfect card. He is perfectly balanced. He can never get buffed. He can never get nerfed. He is always perfect man. That's it. This is the one that I was like, really? Like, I've upgraded Killmonger a lot. And I don't know what the time frame of this is. Like, Killmonger must be your favorite, upgraded 60 times. You're making it stronger. Good choice. Well, first of all, I'm not actually making it stronger. You don't upgrade your cards to make them stronger. You just get cooler effects, right? So if I go over here and I look at this, each time you go and you get something to infinite, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each full infinity split is 5 upgrades, right? Because I definitely didn't split them 60 times. So if that's the case, then this is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, right? Unless, no, even then this doesn't make sense, because I'm waiting to split these for something maybe a little bit better. You know what? Just because I like you guys, let's do a split, right? See what we get. It's pretty bad, but that's fine, right? My point is, I definitely did not upgrade him 60 times. I've upgraded him at least, or around 80 times, at least 60 times. But, just saying, when I go and I look at Galactus I've upgraded way more times. I've upgraded Galactus over 100 times. Okay. So, I don't know how accurate this whole data thing is that they were talking about before. I definitely think that they could do this, but at the same time, like if you're able to get all this stuff and get it like so like finely sliced and get all these exact numbers, how are you messing up this type of stuff where it's just like how many times was a card upgraded? Again, maybe they're the amount of information they have on players is a little bit harder to filter because there's so many players that, or so many accounts and players of this game. Maybe it's a little bit more difficult to actually get everything done like that. Maybe it's easier for them to look at games, but I'm still very surprised that they're able to get like that type of specific data. Anyway, at one point, I'm very impressed with the amount of data that they're able to get and how specific they are. I think it's fantastic. It's wonderful for the game, super healthy for the game. But, I mean, kind of like ruins my season recaps, doesn't it? 60 times. I'm a Galactus boy. Come on. That's it, guys. You have a great day. Say congratulations to my wife. Have a wonderful time. It's November. That's scary. I'll see you next time.